Hey guys, welcome to the Wednesday Cardone University Mastermind. My name is Steve Sprague, coming to you live right here in the heart of Miami, 305. Welcome guys, welcome to the Wednesday Mastermind. Every single Wednesday, I come here to you with all the other folks that are on the Mastermind each week, and what we're doing here is we're talking about sales, we're talking about any problem that you had, we're talking about how to get better at the day-to-day. The grind, the hustle, the appointments, the phone calls, the goals, the closing, the negotiating. How do we make more money as salespeople? And so for you, this is going to be something that I want you guys to take notes as you guys watch this program. When you study this, look, I'm diving deeper into some of these scenarios and topics that Grant's giving. And I'm going to give you the data that I have on it just from experience, someone who's studied it in a very in-depth manner. And I want you guys to call in with your experiences, your objections, things that you've ran into, and let's talk about them. And I'm going to give you my expertise to this point about what I would do and what Grant Cardone suggests to do based off the Cardone University. So guys, welcome. If you want to dial in, that number, it's right up here. If you scroll up, it's 305-865-8668. That is the number, 305-865-8668. Call in. And this week, we are talking about problems with the decision maker. Okay, if you have problems with the decision maker, I want you guys to call in. Give us a call. We already got a bunch. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. People are interested in this decision maker phenomenon. So some of the things I want you guys to understand, you cannot close a deal if they are not the decision maker. So some of the problems that you may have is that you may not even be on the decision maker. That is probably the number one thing that I find out. So you're not talking to the right spouse. Just so you know too, the decision maker and the person who's going to pay the money for it, those could be two different people in a household, So you guys got to think about that stuff. You got to think, because this is how you know what questions to ask. And most importantly for you, where you're at in the deal. So if you know where you're at in the deal, you treat it differently. I talk to salespeople all the time. They're calling up, they're like, oh my gosh, I got this deal. They're like, hey, no, he's the guy. Okay, that's code for he's not the guy, because nobody tells you that he's the guy, right? So I'm like, okay, well, good. Let me get on the phone with him. I talk to him. The first thing that I always ask is, hey, who else needs to see this in order for you to make a decision? Were they able to hear that? No, you guys all good? Okay, cool. So, I can hear it a little bit. We got some construction happening over here, man. I'm just making sure you guys don't hear that. But guys, listen, so what I'm talking about right now is closing the deal. I want to show you some areas inside the program where you can focus particularly just on closing the deal. And so as you go into the program right here, if you just look into your training program where it's advanced sales negotiation, so depending on what category or what version of Cardone University you have, I'm very particularly talking about theory of closing, closing strategies. These are what we're going to cover today. There's some advanced content, if you'll notice, in mastering objections and negotiating and closing masterclass. Unbelievable right here, by the way. So I want to go into theory of closing the deal. When you get in here, guys, look, there's going to be some very, very specific things that you need to live by. Live by. When I say you've got to live by this, I'm talking about you need to know this stuff right here better than you know what to say when the customer says, I got to think about it. Because if you can do that, this has helped me more in deals. Okay, the rules, the reasons closers fail, like these things. You've got to get this stuff down, guys, because I'm going to go into the rules right here. If you don't have these, I'm telling you right now that you will have trouble closing deals. And so it's very important to really study all these. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot today. And I'm going to give you some of my specific topics. And so everybody wants to know, hey, what, so you can come back. You guys, everybody wants to know, hey, what do I say when they tell me that they got to think about it or they got another partner or the money's too high, the price is too high? Well, there's a lot of things Grant talks about in here that you need to know about that stuff. But number one, they got to be the right decision maker. So let's start with that. Let's ask them those questions. Who else needs to see this in order for you to make a decision? Have you seen enough to make a decision is a great question to ask as you break up your process. I want to show a little portion of what I'm doing, and then I'm going to say, have you seen enough to make a decision? What? We just started. Yeah, no. Do you know enough to make a decision? Okay, so we're going to talk about that actually. I'm going to bring it up. We're going to dive deeper into the decision phenomenon. Okay, but I'm going to leave you guys hanging here for a second. I've got a bunch of callers, so I'm going to go ahead and take a couple.
All right, we got Phil in Montreal.
Very nice. Phil in Montreal. What's happening, man? Hey, can you turn down turn down the audio? There you go. What's up, man?
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Man, I'm doing incredible. How you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, thanks.
What can I help you out with?
I'm actually, right now I'm selling outdoor accessories like pergolas.
Hold on one second. We've got crazy construction going on in our office. So there's construction everywhere, but particularly right behind this camera where you guys can see, it's freaking out of control. Oh, can they hear it though on that? Can they hear it on this? Can they hear that? A little bit? All right, guys. I apologize for that. Hey, I'll take Phil. Yeah, just tell me. All right, Phil. What's up, man? Go ahead.
Hey, Steve. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm selling pergolas, like outdoor accessories, and the main thing I have right now is customers are, telling me right now they're building their houses and putting like maybe their patio on their houses and stuff like that. So I'm selling the stuff that's going on top. So they're telling me, I'll be ready at the end of the summer or maybe next summer. So that's my issue right now. How do I respond to those kind of objections by customers that want to get a deal, but only next summer,
So they're negotiating with you, but they're trying to figure out, hey, but we're going to do this next summer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so it's kind of weird, right? It's like this is what I always look at, because this helps me out. I mean, this is what I personally do. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, why are they trying to negotiate with me if they're going to hold it off and do it in a year? That's just weird. So here's what I want you to know. Number one, they are going to give their money to somebody. No matter what your business is, this guy sells outdoor accessories. No matter what your business is, they are going to give their money to somebody. So I want you to think about that. Is it going to be you or is it going to be somebody else? And I'm not talking about other outdoor accessory companies. I'm talking about Nordstrom's for their kids' clothes. I'm talking about Gucci. I'm talking about Ford. I'm talking about Ashley Furniture. I'm talking about Verizon Wireless. There's anybody in the world that they could give their money to. And so, dude, is it going to be you is the question. And so the way that you want to get down to this is, hey, I understand. You want to agree with them. Hey, that's excellent. You should definitely wait until next year. Let me ask you this. What's going to change between now and next year? So you want to start to break down the time. Now, if you want to go in the program, I'll show you some cool closes that I like. If you go into closing strategies, there's a whole category right here on time. Now, these are designed to help you get a decision. You're looking for a decision. You're looking for a decision. So number one rule that I want to give you guys today, and I'm going to use it with my guy Phil, the number one rule when you go into a deal or a presentation, you need to see the deal closing. Okay, I know that's really interesting where it's like, well, man, I want every deal to close. No, you need to see it. You need to go into it saying, hey, dude, I'm going to get this deal done today. I'm going to see it to the end. You need to view this in the future saying, hey, what does it look like? Because what happens is when you think like that, you kind of communicate that way. And your communication's different as you're presenting. So that's one part. But the second part is this, man. I'm going to find out, hey, Phil, when you ask the question, hey, what changes between now and next year, what do you think they would say?
I guess it depends. Probably they're going to tell me, the budget or what they want to do on their houses and if they want to do any other renovation in their houses, maybe. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's the deal. So they're not sold out that you're the right product.
Okay, so you mean, okay, so maybe they want to maybe do the patio instead of doing the pergola because they're more closed on, like the patio or maybe
Yeah.
the pool than my stuff.
Exactly. So they're like, hey, there's something a lot cooler out there than what you're providing, right? So that's what they're they will never tell you that, by the way, but I'm telling you, that's what's happening, right? So the big unspoken objection is what is killing your deals, and they're not going to talk about it, right? So that's why salespeople are like, well, he never said anything about they told me they liked it. Well, dude, of course, because he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's not going to tell you, hey, dude, your product is garbage. I don't want it, So, and I'm not saying that about you. I'm just saying that about in general. Like sometimes people think, dude, I would never do that. So you got to, in order to get there, you guys have got to get to these places by asking hard questions. So number one, Phil, I want you to start asking this. Hey, who else in your household needs to see this in order to make a decision? I understand you're going to wait. Next year is perfect for us. Who else in your household needs to see this in order to make a decision? So it's probably going to be, because you're probably only talking to one person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you want to figure out.
Great question.
Well, because then they're going to say, well, my spouse. Like, and just so you know, like, you probably knew that at the beginning. That's not the purpose. The purpose is that I need to get them to communicate about these things. There's something that they are not telling me. And let me just tell you guys, look, if you don't get them to communicate with you, then you run this problem where you pitched your product, which is great because you've got the best pitch in the world on that one product, but you pitched it to somebody who's just now seeing it for the first time, and you are now relying on that person with their 10 minutes of information to go pitch it to the actual decision maker. So you have no chance in the entire world whatsoever. Just telling you flat out, you ain't got a chance. So this is where you got to really dig in, Phil, and you got to start asking. Maybe it's the wife you're talking to, or let's just say, hey, I'm talking to the husband. Hey, look, who else in your household needs to see this? My wife. Yeah, excellent, man. Listen, what's she going to say based off what we've already talked about? Remember, I'm going to start asking questions about what we've already discussed. Oh, no, she's going to like it. Excellent. Has she ever wanted to do this before? Well, she's the one that wanted me to take this meeting. Excellent. Listen, what's she going to say when you tell her we got to put it off till next year? Well, she's going to agree with me. Oh, really? Is that because of the money, or is that because of this product and you guys are looking to do something different? Well, we're thinking about putting a pool in. Perfect. Love that idea. That's a really good one. Okay, that's what, definitely should do that. See where I'm going? I'm getting them to communicate so I can start walking them down the line, and I'm going to work through this decision maker where they can find out, hey, you know what, dude, we should actually do the pool and the outdoor lighting. It would be crazy if we didn't do both. Like, I'm going to get them to that decision, but I can't without those harder questions. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes total sense. So what you're telling me that I should really try to train on the time closes, right?
The time closes are really good. So what I've been talking to you about so far is really leading up to me specifically asking a hard, a very like, hey, I'm basically asking, all right, can you do the deal? So I'm going to show you that part. If you want to show my screen right now, we go into the time closes. Now these are a little bit different, some of my favorites, because I think time, Grant talks about this in the program. He says, look, if they give you, a time objection or a money objection, they're just like stalling you out. A lot of time it's really covering up the actual product objection. So these are to eliminate the time conversation. I think it helps me get down the line. So, the important person close, that's a great one. Flush the objection close, that's a great one. Hey, do you want to be the first or last? That's a great one depending on your business. For you, Phil, I like number 7, actually, the future date close. So, where you can ask, hey, Phil, so that's excellent. Next year is great. Can I get a commitment from you that you'll do it with us in the future? Oh, yeah. If we do it, we're going to do it with you.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm going to use the future date close, but here I'm going to tie it in with this one, the sooner or later close. So then I'm going to say, hey, Phil, will you do it with us? Yeah, I'm going to do it with you. Excellent. Hey, Phil, listen, why don't I suggest that if you're going to do it, you do it sooner rather than later. That way you guys can get this off your plate. Yeah, and I'll tell you guys what that actually might do. It might get them to a place where it pushed them all the way to the edge and say, well, actually, we can't even do that because we don't have the money right now. So what's your real objection? Is it time or is it money?
Yeah, so that's not, now that's money. Okay.
You know, and then Phil, and then you break out and say, dude, that's perfect. I'm glad you don't have the money because I've got some incredible financing that we secured before we got here that makes it easy for you to get this now, and you could have it paid off before next year. And then they're like, oh, no, well, we can't do that. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I got to start eliminating some of the things that they're hiding, the real objection, you know? And then you might just want to ask, hey, do you even like this? Is this the right product? Are we on the right product, you know? So, like, start uncovering some of the hidden, unspoken objections that are out there, man. Thanks a lot for calling in on that. That's a really good example right there, right? So this is where you guys got to start opening this up, but I can't do it without the decision maker. Now, the second part that I want to talk to you guys about, I want to talk about this. You got to give the influencer more power. Like, you have got to give the influencer more power. You have got to build up the influencer. You need to know that they're the influencer, and you need to treat them like a multi-millionaire because they are the answer to you getting a deal. So I see a lot of people, you know, discounting, you know, influencers. Like, maybe they're not the final decision maker. They're like the manager at the company, or they're like the spouse. So they're like, you know, somebody goes in, hey, I'm looking for my husband. You know, maybe she's in there buying shoes for her husband. Dude, just say you guys know, and you probably already knew this. Dude, the wife was making the decision on the shoes anyways. Okay, so I'm telling you guys, you need, like, these are the real decision makers, the influencers, but they're different than the check signers. So if the influencer is not fully 100% fully bought in, like, hey, look, if they don't do it, I'm going to put this on my credit card type influence, then, dude, then you still got some work to do with that person. You need to treat them better. You got to have a great attitude with them. So I want to bring a slide up, and I want to talk to you guys about a decision phenomenon. Grant talks about this inside the program. If you want to pull this slide up right here, guys, we'll show you. So this is from the top 7 sales secrets. It's called the decision phenomenon. And Grant talks about, hey, look, a buyer decides to take action before he or she agrees to take action. So what's he talking about right there? A buyer agrees to take action before they actually take action. A lot of action in there. Okay, so listen, you want to understand, look, they make the decision before they say yes, whether they're going to do it or not going to do it. Why don't you start talking about it? Start asking. So if you want to present your product, maybe you're showing a mattress, you're showing them around, you're telling them about all the cool things. You need to stop. Hey, have you seen enough to make a decision on this? Well, no, not yet. This is the first one we looked at. Hey, no problem. Just wanted to check, feel the temperature. Okay, and I'm going to move on with my presentation. Okay, so listen, I mean, if I'm selling a car, I'm walking out there and I'm showing them we're on, we got one particular model they came in to see. I'm going to offer the opportunity for 2 or 3 models, but I'm going to start showing them the product and say, hey, do you like this car enough to take it home today? Well, I want to get in and test drive. No, of course, but I just, I want to find out. Do you already know enough about this vehicle to say yes to this particular vehicle? Oh, yeah, no, this is the one I'm getting. Excellent. Okay, and so you can start feeling people out that way, but you need to ask them, have you seen enough to make a decision? Because at that point, this is where salespeople could actually talk themselves out of sales. If you're a manager on this call, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've probably seen your salespeople do this, where you just kept talking about the product and telling them all the cool features and like, here's the jet and it does this and it's got that, and it's got these, and you're like the guy came in ready to buy the jet before he got there. You should have just asked him, hey, before we get started, do you know enough to make a decision? What? Well, I haven't seen it yet. Well, no, you haven't seen it, but you've done research online, right? Well, yeah, we did. We looked online about it. We've seen it. Yeah, well, excellent. I mean, do you know enough to say yes? So let's go ahead and let's take.
Eric in Toronto.
All right, cool. We got our Canadians up there. I love it. Eric, what's happening?
I'm doing amazing. How's it going with you, Steve?
Dude, I'm doing unbelievable. How's it been going since last week, man?
Killer. So I was going to ask you more about that. So,
dig in.
I've heard, I got the stopwatch and I started implementing it, and I'm at full capacity, but I squeeze even more, and that was going to be my next question. Any other things like that where I'm just looking to take this like commitment level to an 11?
Yeah.
Any other things that you or other people or Grant has implemented that I should also play with?
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, guys, so what he's talking about, I told him last week, he's like, hey, how can I get the most out of my time? I'm like, well, dude, why don't you actually, really see how much time you have available? And so I told him, get a stopwatch, put it around your neck, and click it anytime you're not on a phone, in front of a customer, or pitching a deal. And man, Eric, how much time did you end up with? Even though you felt like you were maxing out, how much time did you find in your day?
It was more so a number. I could crank out an extra 5 to 10 follow-up dials, which is a lot for me.
Yeah.
Which is because like 20, 30 is what I hit most days, but that's a huge volume increase.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's a lot. So like 5 extra per hour, or like just for the whole day?
Just like throughout the day, you know what I mean? Just that by constantly doing that 15 minutes, I just got extra bits and pieces, which is huge for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, that's big, man. So there's always, like, really, guys, with anything, it's just you got to look at it and just simply ask yourself, how could it be possible? And so what I want to look at, there's a really great category in here. One of my favorites, it's in 100 Ways to Stay Motivated. So I'm going to show that. I think I talked about it last week, actually, but I can kind of give you some ideas on it. It's called time management. Just to let you guys know, Grant's going to kick it off with the fact that he hates managing time. You shouldn't manage time. You should control it and schedule your day in 15-minute blocks right here. So this is a really great way, Eric, for you to go in. I think, we talked about the kitchen timer thing for you. And he goes into some other things, like he's talking about, quality time with your family, so he's talking about scheduled time. If you schedule things, it becomes better. If you stick to the schedule, it's better. If you statistic everything, like if you come into our office, you're going to see stats everywhere. We statistic everything. We measure everything because you can't change it unless you measure it. And so that's where you'll see us with graphs in every single office. Keeping a full calendar right here. Obviously you're trying to do that. I mean, these are kind of like bigger things. I don't think you have an issue with that. Getting good sleep. I produce better when I've got good sleep. So, these are things that Grant's talking about. What about like networking, group demos, ways that you could kind of maximize yourself. So, is there anything that you could do like that, Eric? Like be able to, get other people to work for you or set appointments for you?
I think the biggest thing is, unfortunately, I can't hire more. There's kind of constraints, but I think it's using more direct mail to leverage more of my time before I call, because I know the net return would be better. That's the biggest thing that comes to mind. Anything else I should be thinking of?
Well, I mean, I like that idea for sure. I mean, there's people out there, like there's resources that you can, find on the internet where like you can send them a whole list of people and say, hey, go dig out the players on this, and like you could send them 1,000 leads and they'll go get, all the people that say they're CEOs or VPs or whatever. It's so like, figure out, hey, how do I maximize my list now? See, Eric, guys, just so you know, has been, trying to figure this thing out. He's kind of like, he's done a lot of great things. He trains every day, he gets better every day, but now he's looking at like, okay, how do I start counting the minutes? How do I start doing the things that like Grant Cardone does, like getting the most out of each 10-minute intervals that I'm working. And so I would do that. I would focus on your prospecting list to make sure that the lead lists that you're calling are more quality than they were. And that's going to give you a better result, So there's different, I just have to know what you do to kind of look at that. But I'd also spend more time networking too. I think there's a lot of opportunities in networking. I think so if you can maximize your time on the weekends. Are you working 7 days a week?
Yeah, 7 days. I'd love to pick your brain on it. So my business, like I'm kind of in wealth management financial services, so anyone with a lot of money is a great client. Any specific tips on how did you network in Miami, perhaps to get me kind of thinking? I do try to go to events, but I'd love to pick your brain on kind of what you do on that front.
Yeah, there's a couple different things. I mean, there's a lot of networking events out there. I think it's other people trying to gain business too. So you can find good stuff there. I just show up to the same place all the time. Like Grant talked to me one time about, and he's told the story before where he's like, look, I would always go to the same restaurant every single day for lunch until they knew me there, and they knew me there, and they knew me there, and then I became like part of that place, and I started getting business because people know me. So like if you can think with like your gym that you go to, like go to your local Orange Theory Fitness, go, become the guy there that's been there for a long time that everybody knows, and start getting out into your community. So start doing those things. You got to spend money on some of this stuff, so going out to dinner, like me and my girl, we don't even go out to dinner typically. I mean, we do, but we try not to unless we can go with somebody else who, that way we can get some miles out of it. You know what I mean? So we can spend some time networking. And like, that's the type of way we're thinking, because we're kind of at the place where you're at, where we're like, hey, how do we like we're doing everything we can. How do we maximize time? So for you, I'd spend more time with clients because they know other people. I would invite more people out to lunch. I would invite more people out to dinners. I would spend time doing that as well, because those rich people, like me, the only people that I know are pretty much people that are same status as I am, And those people that you get money from, they've got friends, and the only people that they probably hang out with are exactly the same as what you're looking for. So I would maximize those. So great question, man. This guy's on it right here. Thanks a lot for calling. So this guy right here, like he does you should also be in this program right here called Prospecting Strategies. This is what I would focus on if I was this Eric guy right now. Dude, I already know people that have money. I've already built up clientele. Now I built a base. I built a power base. I've got a base of people, but now I need to work on those relationships. I need to grow those relationships. That's where Grant created this whole program right here. He created this program so that way you could maximize. I mean, full on, go for it and maximize the current clients that you have. So I would super encourage you guys to get in there and dive deep in the prospecting. So one more caller.
All right, you got Mark in the UK.
Oh, nice. Mark in the UK. What's happening, buddy?
Hi, Steve. You all right?
I'm here, man. How's everything going for you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I have a question for you. Ready?
I'm ready for it.
All right. So we're talking about a cold call, and we're talking, it's about business insurance renewal, and they just renewed their business insurance some days ago, and now I'm trying to switch them to my deal. All right?
Okay. What'd they tell you?
Yep. So
what'd they say to you?
Yeah, and sorry?
What did you already, is this a real call, or you just give me a scenario?
Yeah, I'm giving you a scenario. And so we're picking up from there. I asked them what's most important to them. They said price. So they want to save money. They want a better deal, but they already did it kind of a couple of days ago. They still can change their deal. And now they're concerned about taking too long to change their deal. And I just need 5 minutes with them to walk them through a new deal. So
yeah, dude. I mean, hey, look.
Yeah.
I think it just comes like, dude, number one, you just need a bigger pipeline. So like on this, I think that's the first thing to worry about. This is probably the answer to almost every, like I see a lot of people trying to figure out these impossible deals. I've been doing this show for over 2 years, and I get these people that call up and they're like giving me the most ridiculous freaking deals. I go out and speak to people, and I always get the most ridiculous freaking deal. And I'm like, dude, like, get real if you thought that was ever going to happen in the first place, So like, I mean, dude, it's going to be hard to close the deal if the guy just hooked up on his insurance, right? Not that it's impossible, but like, dude, number one, need a bigger pipeline. So number two, if we are going to look at this and say, hey, how could we close that guy, right? What do they sign up for? 12-month deals?
For 1 year.
So this guy's got 50. Yes. This guy's got 97% of his contract that he just signed still in place. Okay, so you got to put some good selling shoes on. Now, at this point, and it's actually kind of funny to look at this because now you're like, okay, well, man, I can get you a better deal. And then you're thinking, and they still don't want to change, do they?
Yeah, I mean, they want to change because they said, yes, I would like to consider, but let's put it for the next year. because when I'm renewing again.
Nah, dude, I'm not talking
now
about
I
next
think
year. I'm
it's
talking
gonna
about
take
right now. Right now. So they told you that, yeah, we do want to switch.
Yeah, I mean they want to save more money and they want to look a better deal.
Okay, good. So they want to do that, which is interesting because then now we know it's not about money, because they're like, yeah, we'd love to save money, but we're just going to stick with what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely not the money, right? So we know that like this whole price myth that Grant talks about inside the program, that validates the fact that it's not price. If it was 100% price, they would switch right now.
Yeah. So
You
then
know?
how can I find the?
What I want to ask him is, hey, I know you just signed up, no problem. That's why I gave you a call. Listen, that wouldn't keep you from looking at a better deal, would it?
Yeah.
You
Because
don't-
the only I mean, the main two things when I make these cold calls is either they already did it kind of 2-3 days ago, or they have their deal and they're kind of don't want to switch, but probably it's because I cannot really get them to switch, you know.
So the list that you're calling is from people that bought 2 or 3 days ago.
Yep, or people who are renewing in the following week.
And
So
how often do they switch?
their renewing period now.
Yeah, how often do they switch? So I buy insurance, and then you call me 3 days later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I wish you would have called me, you know, I'm going to go ahead and switch with you. How often does that happen?
On 30 happenings, let's say 2 or 3 times.
How many?
So kind of a 10%.
10%.
But
Good.
probably because I'm not that good.
Yeah, no, so tell them that. I mean, I don't think it's good, but I would tell them, hey, look, hey, no problem. I would make that the thing. That's what you got to. This is why you guys got to work this out. Hey, I know you just bought. Look, 10% of our clients, they bought within 3 days of us calling them, and we reached out and we found them a better deal, and we just want to find out, are you open to a better price, a better deal, a better opportunity, right? So you got to use what's real to you. Hey, I understand. Yeah. I know, hey, look, I know you just bought. That's why I'm giving you a call. In fact, 10% of my clients, 10% of them, they buy the insurance, and then I call them 2 days later, and I tell them I can get them a better deal, and they still switch because they're interested in saving money. Okay, I'm giving you a call. I want to find out, is that same true for you? No, we're good with who we got. Excellent. If I called you back in 6 months, would you be open to switch then? If it was for a better deal? Yeah, we would. Excellent. Listen. Why don't we take time out of the equation? Let me show you what I can do now. That way, if I reach out to you 30, 60, 90, 180 days from now, you'll know exactly what I have to offer. You know, work your way into the deal. Talk about, like, you don't need to tell them that you need to get a deal right now. Just tell them, yeah, hey, look, man, hey, listen, we probably wouldn't even do business for another 6 months. You just hooked up. It'd probably be almost impossible to do it. I mean, I could show you how, but it'd probably almost, you wouldn't even be worth your time. But let me show you what I'm doing. That is worth your time. That way, next time I call, you know who I am. That way I can help you out. Okay, you got 3 minutes? And then work in your deal. Because now if they start working this out, they're going to start asking you buying questions. Hey, am I able to switch to this right now? Can I do this right now? That's what you'll start hearing if you did it the right way. But you got to like creep your way into the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Rock on, dude. So
yeah, I mean, basically working my day, yeah.
Do you like that answer?
Yeah, I love it.
Did you write it down? Did you write it down?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought.
All right, man. Practice it, drill it, and rehearse it. Okay, this guy's going to be great, guys.
Promise.
So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for calling in. So,
great.
Yeah. So guys, listen. You know, I started that call up where I was like, dude, like, you know, who are you calling? So every lead is a lead. You know, but like when I make my leads too, so if we go back to the one guy who's like, hey, how do I maximize my time? Dude, like I try to call lists of people or like contacts of people that I think qualify for what I'm doing. Like that, So there's two things. If you guys read the Closer Survival Guide, Grant Cardone says, look, they got to be the decision maker, and they got to have the financial wherewithal. If I'm selling a high-end, product, and there's only a certain amount of people that can buy it, and so for most people, look, guys, there's a group of people that you can market to or sell to or pitch to, right? There's age ranges, there's demographics, there's whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you know who your target market is. So I would focus all my attention on the target market. Like if I sell a high-end net worth product, I'm not just going to start calling people in the phone book, because I don't know who I'm going to get. So what I want to do is and so for my guy in the UK, I'm telling him, look, man, find people who are super qualified for this list. That way you've got a better shot. That way they're more open to the idea, because the biggest problem you're going to get with that is that, dude, I just bought something 3 days ago. Like you're talking to them about something that they don't change all the time, and you're like, hey, I know you just looked at this on your annual time. Like if I had a guy call me up right now, we're in the end of April, and he'd be like, hey, man, I can save you a sweet deal on your taxes. You know what I'm telling him? Hey, dude, call me next year. Like, too late, dude. I already got my tax check back. It's like you're way out. He's like, well, like I can save it. It's like I'm just not interested right now. Like it's just not in my way, right? So I gotta I want to look at people. Or I gotta change my pitch. Change the angle of what you're doing. Now, instead of being the tax guy, like, hey man, let me get you some more money in taxes. Hey, I do tax preparation. Now's the perfect time. Actually, there would not be a better time than the day after you got your tax check. When did you get your tax check? I'm like, oh, dude, I got a couple days ago. Dude, look, man, we're already behind on what I can do for you. Okay? Let me show you what I can do. Okay? I prepare you all year long, so that way by the end of the year, you're getting more money back. You're looking at different angles. Okay? So you guys got to sell or be sold, dude. Sell or be sold. I want to go back to this. I want to show you where you should spend all your time this week. Okay, so inside the program, there's a category. It is called Selling Basics. You probably went through this from the very start. You probably seen this right when you kicked off the program. You did the right thing. This is the first place to start. Okay, here's what I want to challenge you to do. Go back through it this week. Go back and study this. This is something I do all the time. People are always asking, hey, what are the tips and tricks? I'm like, dude, how often do you watch Selling Basics? I mean, some of the most valuable content that is so... It's like having a house and you got a beat up foundation. You got a badass roof. The roof is great. The roof works. It's the best roof in the world. But you got a crusty foundation, right? It's not good. So you guys got to go back to this stuff right here and make sure that you've got everything in, your professional or amateurs in. The most important sale, which is actually one of the best products in this whole program, these 4 videos would be worth $1 million to you if you just watched them every single month. Okay, so you make the most out of it. You pitch the deal. Sell or be sold. So whoever's most convinced, they're going to get the deal. So my guy in the UK who's got the product, look, man, you need to be on the phone with people. Hey, listen, if you liked what I had, would you be the person to make the decision? If I could save you money, could you write a check today? Well, we wouldn't write a check. Well, listen, if you could, would you be the person? So you got to dig into these. You got to ask these hard questions. That's what moves the ball down the field. And so for most salespeople, they're only taking that low-hanging fruit. And so for you, figure this out. Figure out, how do I turn every single person into a buyer? Even if they bought a product on a contract, they just bought it yesterday. How do I spin my deal so that way I can make this whole thing fit? And that's what this whole program is about, guys. That's what Cardone University is about. But you won't get there unless you're doing 6 segments minimum every single day. So do that. 6 segments every single day. Focus on what you have attention on. Continue to study through the program. If you guys have questions, we're always here every Wednesday on the Cardone University Mastermind just to answer any questions that you might have. And guys, listen, I want to drop 2 things right now. Number 1, we've got the 3-day business boot camp. It's happening in July, the 12th, 13th, and 14th. You need to be there. If you don't have the $3,500 or the $7,500 to actually get a ticket, this would be a good time to practice your sales skills. Sell something. Make a little side nest of like, dude, hey, how much money would it take to go to that event? It's 3 days with Grant Cardone. Okay? How would I get $3,500 together to be able to make that deal work? Okay, you can make it work if you put your attention on it. You just need to ask yourself, how is it possible? Okay, and then we're going to have another event here coming at the end of this year. It's going to be another business boot camp. It happens in October. We want you guys at these boot camps because we know how valuable they are. Okay, my guy Martin, who calls up every single week, doing all the right things. Dude, if you don't show up to that boot camp, that's going to be messed up. Okay, because you're there. You're this close, man. You're this close. You're doing all the right things. Okay, but coming in to get a good Grant Cardone kick, that'd be amazing for you. So, guys, listen, thank you for joining us every Wednesday on the Cardone University Mastermind. I'm going to see you back here next week. Thanks.